What is up, guys? It's your boy Rick Kakis, and today we've got some brand spanking new Destiny 2 news, courtesy of the Bungie weekly update that just went live, revealing official information. This is the last TWAB before the Lightfall expansion, and oh my goodness, Bungie went hard. And so, let's get started. But just before we do, this video is sponsored by Gunzilla Games, and guys, I don't think you're ready for where this ad is gonna go, because Gunzilla Games is a new independent AAA studio. They're making a game called Off the Grid. Now this game is gonna be a AAA Battle Royale 2.0 game, story driven. It's a cyberpunk themed game, but Gunzilla Games, they have a completely separate project called Off the Grid Cinema. And this is crazy. This is what we're watching in the background here, okay? This is a super high quality, and I mean, look at it. I really do mean super high quality narrative piece of content that they've released. I'm not making this up. Directed by Neil Blomkamp. That is District 9. Neil Blomkamp. I'm like a legit fan of his work. He is directing these fantastic cinematics. Like, you gotta go and watch it for yourself. It's linked down in the description. They just posted this, dude, out of nowhere. And again, the production quality deserves way more views. They're making all of these awesome, like, short films almost within this universe, setting up the narrative behind their new game. What a fantastic idea. And again, what a bold thing and a different direction to take your new AAA game. Definitely, guys, you gotta check it out. Just for the props of how high quality this is and getting Neil Blomkamp, I'm on board. Alright, now as for what's going on this week in-game, well, this is your final chance to prepare for Lightfall. So I did release a Lightfall prep guide linked up above if you want to check it out. Additionally, guys, this last week is the only week you can get the Adept version of the Wendigo GL3 grenade launcher. A lot of people are going after this because this has arguably the best god rolls of any of the heavy grenade launchers, and heavy grenade launchers are getting a confirmed buff, a big one in Lightfall. Now, moving on from there, the other thing that happened this week is that Bungie released an article detailing exactly how they were planning on making Destiny 2 more challenging. They're upping the base difficulty level of the game within Lightfall, and they introduced new things like, you know, adept burns and stuff are going away. We're now getting surges, threats, and overcharged weapons. Of course, did a video going over all of that. It's linked up above as well. But guys, moving on from there to the brand new information within the TWAB. Honestly, I'm gonna skip ahead here and start with what I think is by far the most important information. Guys, Bungie, out of nowhere, just made the Witch Queen expansion completely free for the next few days until February 26th. So, right now, you can go, if you've never bought the Witch Queen, you can go play through the campaign, play all that content. Heck, you can even do, I think, the Vow of the Disciple raid. And the best part is that all of the loot you get within this expansion, you get to keep forever. So any Witch Queen exotic armor pieces, any Witch Queen exotic weapons, any legendary weapons, any of that stuff, after February 26th, when it's no longer free, you still get to keep and use all of that gear. Just make sure you have the vault space, because obviously you can't delete it and then like withdraw from your collections, I believe, and all that stuff. But again, that is huge for anyone who's maybe a free-to-play player. In fact, if you're on the PlayStation, this is going to be the second free expansion available to you, because Beyond Light is one of the PlayStation Plus free games, I guess game editions, for this month. So make sure to, if you're on PlayStation, redeem Beyond Light before March 6th, and I mean, that one you just actually get all the content forever, so that is pretty darn sweet. But guys, moving on from there, we have a brand new Witch Queen trailer releasing today during the PlayStation State of Play livestream. Now, that's going to begin at 1 p.m. Pacific, and then sometime during that presentation, we will get a new trailer. Now, moving on from there, guys, Bungie revealed some quality of life improvements for the competitive PvP playlist coming in Season 20. So for placement changes, you can now place in Platinum Division after your initial placement series matches if you were Adept or Ascendant in the previous season. With the mode and map weighting, while we understand not everyone loves Rift and Showdown, we believe that those two modes stress Crucible players in different and important ways. However, we're lowering how common Rift and Showdown come up in play. While RNG can give any sequence of maps and modes, we expect Survival to show up roughly 2/3 of the time, and then Rift and Showdown to split the other 1/3. We've also adjusted the individual map weightings for Showdown to eliminate maps and modes that don't play well with that. Overall, we've increased the weight of Javelin 4, Endless Veil, and Altar of Flame in the competitive division and removed Disjunction and Cathedral of Dusk from the rotation entirely. And as Season 20 starts, you can gild the glorious title by reaching the Adept division as well as a number of other Crucible triumphs. Now they continue with a very interesting change, saying exotic armor pieces can be just as critical to your PvP build as your weapons or subclass aspects and fragments. A popular move has always been to have a powerful neutral game exotic on during PvP while your super is building, and then swap to a super enhancing exotic once your super is full. So in Season 20, we're introducing the not swap modifier to Trials of Osiris and the competitive division. So activities with not swap, if you change your exotic armor during the match, all of your ability energy is removed, just like if you swapped your subclass. Wow. They say we're going to be monitoring gameplay and community discussion around this issue, but are not currently planning on adding it to a Gambit or other Crucible playlists. And they're also not planning on adding it to any PvE modes, because that already has equipment locked modifiers. So again, very big change there. Now, moving on from there, guys, Bungie goes just hard because they're releasing all of the different new seasonal artifact mods coming with Lightfall, or I should say Season of Defiance. So here we go. Importantly, the way the seasonal artifact works is going to change. Now you're going to choose 12 different perks per character, and these are going to provide passive bonuses. So when you unlock, let's say, anti-barrier scout rifles, then you just get that. You don't actually get a mod you have to physically put on your armor, you just get that effect. So every scout rifle you put on, if that's one of your 12 chosen available seasonal artifact bonuses, is just going to have anti-barrier always. So that's the big change to keep in mind. Now, moving on from there, column 1 within the seasonal artifact is going to be anti-barrier sidearms, anti-barrier pulse rifles, overload bows, unstoppable scout rifles, and automatics overload. So it says sustained fire from auto rifles and submachine guns. Now, moving on from there, guys, column 2. Okay, so there's going to be authorized mods for solar. So this says the armor energy costs of all armor mods affecting your solar weapons are significantly discounted. And then there's going to be that same version for Strand, for Void, for grenades, and then we have multi-siphon mods, which says grants access to armor mods in your helmet that combine the effects of the Strand Siphon mod with the Solar Siphon mod and the Void Siphon mod. So I guess you get like combinations of different elements with that new bonus. Then for column 3, we have firstly Shatter Orbs. The first time you break a combatant's shield, you create an orb of power if you break the shield with the matching damage type. Then we have Defiant Armory. Greatly improves the benefits provided by the Noble Deeds, Nanotech Tracer Rockets, and Text Balance Stock and Ambush origin traits. So a bunch of different weapons origin traits are improved. Then we have Untangler. Destroying a tangle with a strand weapon suspends targets damaged by the explosion. We have Solar Surge. Collecting a fire sprite gives you an armor charge. We have Volatile Flow. Picking up an Orb of Power grants your void weapons volatile rounds? Are you serious? Guys, that is very similar to the absolutely cracked mod within the Witch Queen, where picking up a Void Elemental Well gave volatile rounds. That completely shaped the PvE meta for the entire season. That's one to look out for. Moving on from there, we have column 4. So we have Bricks from Beyond. Defeating a powerful combatant with a void weapon has a chance to generate heavy ammo for your teammates. Oh my goodness. Then we have Flare Up. Firebolt grenades apply more scorch stacks. Damaging a combatant with a firebolt grenade spawns a fire sprite near them. We have Origin Hones. Weapons with the Noble Deeds, Nanotracing, rockets, text balance, stock, and ambush origin traits are always overcharged when that modifier is active. Very interesting. Then we have Allied Unraveling. Rapid final blows with a strand weapon grant your weapon unraveling rounds with a longer duration near allies. What the heck are unraveling rounds? Like, that's gonna be the new, strand version of volatile rounds, I guess. That seems insane. Then there's Counterweave. When you or a member of your fire team stuns or defeats a champion, you gain energy for your least charged strand ability. Moving on from there, guys, the final column 5 is going to include, first of all, Stranded Reach. Destroying a tangle with a strand weapon creates a larger, more damaging explosion. We have Rain of Firebolts. When you have firebolt grenades equipped, gain a second grenade charge. Okay. We have Void Weapon Channeling. You gain a temporary bonus to void weapon damage after you defeat a target with a void weapon while at least one of your void abilities is fully charged. This damage bonus increases based on the number of fully charged void abilities you have. Then we have Medieval Champion. Glaives you wield fire a powerful explosive payload that stuns unshielded combatants, strong against unstoppable champions, so unstoppable glaives. Additionally, glaives are always overcharged when that modifier is active. Landing consecutive hits with a sword disrupts combatants, stunning them, delaying ability energy regeneration, and lowering combatant damage output, strong against overload champions, so overload swords. Additionally, swords are always overcharged when the modifier is active. And lastly, we have Prismatic Transfer. When you cast your super, each member of your fire team with a subclass damage type different than yours gains a bonus to weapon damage. Very interesting. In case you're wondering about the overcharged, that's going to be a new modifier coming next season, which increases a certain weapon's damage by 25%. So you'd have overcharged pulse rifles, for example, and a lot of these are basically giving that overcharged bonus to other weapons, allowing you to go into an activity with an overcharged bonus, but use, a completely different weapon that you've spec'd in for, and that can be very interesting for build crafting. But moving on from there, Bungie goes over the fact that there's going to be a bunch of new ways to deal with champions in Lightfall and moving forward. So, to actually deal with them, you can use an exotic with an anti-champion intrinsic perk like Ariana's Vow, Divinity, etc. You can use weapons that have an anti-champion artifact perk. You can use the following subclass, verb, and status effects. So for barrier champions, Radiant, Volatile rounds, and Unraveling rounds all deal with barrier champions. For Overload, Jolt, Suppression, and Slow will stun them. For Unstoppable, Ignite, Blind, Shatter, and Suspend will stun them. And the verbs work no matter how they're triggered. So 2 examples. If you're Radiant because a Solar Hunter used the Acrobatic Dodge near you, you will shoot anti-barrier rounds until that Radiant wears off. If you use a weapon with the Chill Clip perk, the slow effect upon direct hits will stun Overload champions, and the Shatter upon the second hit will stun Unstoppables. While Radiant, though, the same weapon would pierce a barrier champion but not stun overloads. Interesting. And also, exotics with an anti-champion status effect won't get the pierce effect when applying Radiant. So an example, Aeger's Scepter will slow and stun an overload champion but not pierce a barrier one even if the player is Radiant. But there is an exception for weapons able to scorch, since ignitions require buildup in order to stun. So the big takeaway there is like if you are, let's say, running solar and you have tons of ways to become radiant, which can pierce barrier shields, you don't really need to run, a weapon that can pierce barrier shields or pick that specific artifact mod. You can just rely on your abilities, which is a very big change. Moving on from there, Bungie talks about the legend difficulty, which is going to matter quite a bit in Lightfall since there is going to be a legendary difficulty Lightfall campaign. So they say with the goal of balancing challenge and survivability across all fireteam sizes, 1, 2, and 3, legendary difficulty scales based on the size of your fireteam, incoming damage, damage required to stagger an enemy, enemy health, and the amount of revives are a few things that scale on legendary for each additional member of your fireteam. In the Lightfall campaign, we reduced the health scaler on combatants to better balance solo and fireteam play compared to last year's legendary campaign. Enemies will still have more overall health in larger fireteams, and the Cabal in general have a higher health base than other combat factions, but this will help bring solo and fireteam difficulty closer together. Additionally, the damage required to stagger combatants is reduced during the Lightfall campaign. So they say, make no mistake, the Shadow Legion and their new technology are extremely formidable foes, and we're not even going to talk about Tormentors, so eyes up, Guardian. But that is a great change. Generally, like before this new change in Lightfall, if it was honestly harder to go into a legend difficulty activity with 3 players. Like you'd be better off going with 2 or even solo because the health was scaled so high. So I think that's a great change. And so guys, that concludes the last TWAB before Lightfall. Now I would highly recommend that you simply go to my channel and start scrolling through videos. I'm telling you guys, Bungie has been releasing so much additional information and articles aside from these TWABs that I guarantee there's some important information you missed. So absolutely check that out and get ready for the Lightfall expansion. Guys, that's it for the video. Hope you enjoyed and found this informative. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickCacus. That is linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.